Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Gaming Dad Fujo Podcast. This is episode number 15, being recorded on January the 24th, 2024. I am Fujosevic, a former professional Hearthstone player, currently working as an analytical chemist in the pharmaceutical industry. This is the place where we talk about all of the gaming and sci-fi and sports and other topics that we used to talk about on our streams and on the daily YouTube videos that we would post, except instead of interrupting those talks with gameplay content, will now interrupt themselves with other topics that we'll be talking about. And today we will be talking about, at the very least, World of Warcraft Season of Discovery Phase 2 coming. We're going to be talking about Palworld, massive game, Bad Batch Season 3, the latest season and the final season, spoilers, and the WWE Netflix deal. Let's get started. He's got no time to play video games. He's the Gaming Dad Fujo. Nailed it. Okay, and of course, a self-indulgent talk. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching other places, rate and follow. You can find us in this podcast wherever you find your podcasts, other than iTunes. We're still working on it. I don't have iPhone technology, so it's a little more challenging to get on there, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually at some point, 2024. It's the year. Let's get started talking on some Gaming Dad topics. What have we done since last week? A bit of Monster Hunter Mobile. It's fun. It's fun. I don't know. There's events apparently going on in the game. To me, it's a really fun. It's the simplest Monster Hunter. I'm waiting for 2025. We mentioned it last episode where there's going to be a new PC open world Monster Hunter game. We'll get really into that one. The Monster Hunter Mobile is a ton of fun, don't get me wrong, but it is the most simple of all the Monster Hunters that have ever come out. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a mobile. It's as good as you could basically do without the complex controls that you usually have in the game. But anyways, that's been fun. And the other big thing that we've been doing is World of Warcraft Classic Season of Discovery Phase 2 starting February 8th. That's very soon, so around the next time we'll be talking. The only raid for that phase is going to be 10-man, which is cool. We have that confirmed. We don't have confirmed if the raid is going to be available on day one or if it's going to be available, a week or two delayed. That's okay. We're finally sticking with Fujo Shaman. I'm on the Wild Growth North American server. If anyone's interested in popping by and saying hi, it's Fujo Shaman, all one word. Hoping to go Resto Ellie for first a quick nerdy WoW talk. I'm gonna go Resto Ellie for phase 2 because then I can get some good spell power gear and start blowing people up in PvP, which will be cool. But we'll see. I have tanked BFD as my shaman. It's been a ton of fun, and we'll see. Hopefully we'll continue doing that. There was this really interesting thing that did come up though. One topic related to this. So in World of Warcraft, you get these marks whenever you do a battleground. These are the instanced PvP areas that you can battle. And the only one that's available right now is Warsong Gulch. I was gonna say WSG. I'll just say the full word. I guess I'm talking now. So normally you can only carry 20 of these in your bag, and you can turn in 3 for a repeatable quest and gain experience. You get 1,200 experience per turn in. So because we're level capped in Season of Discovery at level 25, and on February 8th, the level cap goes up to 40. People did them. You can do them. We're going to do the math in a second. If you save up, so like I said, you normally only have 20 in your bag. Let me go farther back. If you have more than 20 in your bags of these marks, they go to your mailbox, and they will expire in 24 hours. However, if you just let them expire, World of Warcraft also has a item recovery system, where you can go and say, hey, all these items got deleted automatically because they timed out in my mailbox. Excuse me, can you please just bring them back to me for free? And that automatically happens. Like we said, it's 1,200 experience per turn in. It takes 941,000 experience from levels 25 to 50. So that's 785 turn-ins, which means 2,355 marks. So that's either 2,300 losses or 785 wins, which is thousands of games here. So we'll take somewhere in the middle, say 1,700 games. You're talking about 20 minutes. That's going to be 566 hours, which is about 24 days of non-stop Warsong Gulch playing. So people are definitely overestimating how easy that is when the season's only going to have been out, 2.5, 3 months? Someone has spent an entire 24 hours nonstop Warsong Gulch. It's very there would have been some people, I say would have, because there was just an official blue post saying all Warsong Gulch marks will be destroyed in mailboxes and removed from item restoration as of season 2 release. So this is one of those like funny things where like gamers are trying to, people are always trying to find a way to like game the system and like min max and optimize and all this. So it's, I don't know. I can kind of see both sides, right? You can see like, it probably would take away from season of discovery. Let's like, everyone can start off and see, there's going to be more runes and all this stuff to discover. And I guess if there's some, just a few level 40s running around right at the beginning, it will kind of ruin a little bit of that. So I get it. But at the same time, if I had, a reasonable person could have had maybe, I don't know, a 100 marks. To turn in, maybe 200 marks, not that bad to get him boosted up to level 26, halfway to level 26. I don't know. I see it both ways. It's not going to affect me either way. I'm not going to be rating for the first month of the phase for sure anyway, just with the Gaming Dad hours. But it was a cool little thing of people trying to min max and be like being outraged. Oh no! It's like, no, there's only going to be a handful of people who are able to do this. Anyways, that's enough WoW talk. Let's see what else there was. Ooh, this was actually first reported, interesting story, Nintendo-related story. Shack News reported on January 12th that Nintendo was meeting with external developers with the intention of developing games for their IPs, their intellectual property. This is obviously, no one's expecting Mario or Zelda to be made by like Capcom or anything, but I think the speculation is that Nintendo might be looking for other developers to be working on some of their dead IP, like F-Zero Racing. There's a lot of great racing games that have come out. Imagine we could get a modern F-Zero Racing. That'd be fantastic. A new third-person Kid Icarus. That could be a ton of fun. There's a ton of these IPs that have just not really been done much with. And why not let someone else develop something cool to get put out for Nintendo? That would be pretty interesting. So we're definitely going to follow that along if that happens, because it's something Nintendo really hasn't done. They're pretty, they hold on to their IP quite a bit. And then if the joke is obviously, if Pokemon could get made by Larian Studios, they're the ones who just did Baldur's Gate 3, and how massive the game would be. And then of course I read jokes online of the different romance options that would be available. And Baldur's Gate 3, there's that thing with the bear, and if you don't know, you can look it up. It's fine. What else happened? The Halo Infinite Battle Royale development announced that it was canceled, which is just, it's probably not canceled. It's going to roll into the next Halo game, which Halo Infinite was supposed to be this forever Halo. I'm not a big Halo person. It's just, this is a big story because Halo Infinite was such a flop. It seems like it was supposed to be this amazing thing that was supposed to perpetuate forever because everyone wants to be Fortnite and have this forever thing. And it just seems like it's kind of flopping and going to get rolled into the next thing, and that's kind of fine. Speaking of Fortnite, because we can't talk about gaming topics without Fortnite coming up, there's a company called Harmonix. And they have announced that they're no longer going to be releasing DLC for Rock Band. And you're thinking, Rock Band? Really? No one's talked about that game. So they've been releasing DLC new songs for 16 years and have released over 2,800 songs. We all know that 16 years ago, Rock Band was massive and everybody wanted to play Rock Band or had a friend with it or had some of their own. I have my drums and my guitar actually in the basement behind me. I'm turning, again, I always do this thing where I turn around. It's not going to help me. Camera's not on. But we have the stuff down here. So it's actually kind of interesting, when you look back, there was 16 years ago, there was this massive increase in guitar lessons. There's a lot of that anecdotal evidence out there. And then when you look at what happened with Rock Band and Guitar Hero, there were a lot of licensing fees. And the way that these companies got around it a little bit was they paid for a licensing for a song, then paid studio musicians to record a cover of that song. And then that's what they used in Rock Band or Guitar Hero. And you can tell on some of the songs, some are better than others, some are excellent, some you can tell it's not the original, some are very close. But it's kind of interesting, and the reason I bring up Fortnite is because Epic Games has purchased Harmonix, so they're no longer releasing it this way. But apparently there is a music mode in Fortnite that's coming out. Of course, everything is Fortnite now. We can't escape it. Just accept it. There's Fortnite Festival. They're gonna get some controller support with these extra peripherals. It's incredible. There is also on this topic Clone Hero, which I discovered. It exists. It's free to download and play. I think it's This isn't one of those. It supports all the USB guitars and drums and all that stuff, so you can still play all these different types of games. And I love these stories because it's these groups of people who are so passionate about these things. 16 years later, still playing and enjoying their Rock Band and Guitar Hero and stuff. And what's the difference of how long did I play Hearthstone for and still enjoy a World of Warcraft when I have time? I'm Pokemon going since whenever that happened. I mean, I'll talk about Mario Maker, no problem. Original Mario came out 85, right? So, it's just amazing these passionate communities that keep these things running so long. I mean, every time I mention Mario Maker, it's all community driven, right? Well, I guess Nintendo had some of those levels, but the community ones are better. No offense, Nintendo, I love you. Let's talk about the biggest game right now in the world, Palworld. Speaking about Nintendo and Pokemon, everything is tying together so nicely. This is incredible, all this gaming stuff. It's all coming together. Palworld, it's a survival, crafting, definitely not Pokemon catching and raising game. You're catching and raising pals and having them do your bidding and training them up and fighting with them. Not Pokemon, remember. So it's done massive numbers. It's a really cool concept. If you like survival crafting, it kind of combines that with a bit of Pokemon raising and stuff. You can have your little pals. We'll call them pals, just so it's not confusing. And you can have your pals help you build stuff in your base, and then your base will get raided, and you have to upgrade your base instead of like harvesting wood. Then you got to get stone so that your walls don't burn. If there's fire type pals who come and attack and all that sort of stuff, right? Definitely not fire type Pokemon who are coming to attack you. Remember, they're pals. But yeah, this has had absolutely massive numbers. 5 million copies. I think it released on a Friday, and this is like early alpha access that every company does now. And so far, it's a week in and people aren't upset at them about it. So that we'll see how long that lasts, because people always turn on early access. Sold 5 million copies the first weekend. They have now peaked at the number 2 all-time Steam concurrent players. I'm going to read the full number out. 1,820,690 nice players. So that is number 2. The number 1 is PUBG with 3,527,248 players. And that was back in January 13th of 2018. That PUBG number may probably never be beat. I mean, Palworld's massive, and it's still like half of what PUBG was then, which is still massive, huge success. Obviously had massive Twitch and YouTube numbers. And if I had an up-to-date gaming laptop, I'd probably give it a try. We've talked about usually I'm a little more casual gaming, so it's not something I'm really able to jump into right now. And then obviously, like a million Pokemon comparisons with catching and raising. And again, it just shows what potentially a really solid Pokemon game could do. There's no excuse to the Switch. The Switch can do really good looking stuff. Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. That game runs smooth and is a ton of fun. Big, massive open world, really smart optimized coding, I'm sure. I think we talked about Scarlet Violet, how it had big performance issues and still does a year later. One of the biggest biggest companies in the world, biggest IPs. But yeah, so Palworld, like I said, yeah, it's a survival game. It's that survival crafting thing. So I hope it does well. It seems like they already released a 2024 game plan, what they're going to do. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully it keeps people engaged. Anything to put, anything that's a success in the gaming world, I feel is always a good thing, because it's, when you have these massive numbers, it draws eyes, it draws attention. I love gaming, more gaming. Next topic. Ooh, The Bad Batch. Star Wars final season. I thought there was going to be way more. I feel like we're on season 2. I know we're not. I know it's not season 2, but it feels like season 2. We're a few seasons in, but I was expecting more. It's coming out on Disney Plus February 21st. Very excited. Very excited. I love all of these expanding off of the mainline movies. All of these extra animated things have just, to me, been really good. I've enjoyed all the mini-series. We talked about Obi-Wan. It didn't hit as hard as some of the other ones. I mean, nothing is Andor. Like, let's be honest, nothing's Andor. Mando's been fantastic, a ton of fun. Boba Fett is kind of like a Mando side quest, so we can be okay with that. Ahsoka I went through it last episode a little bit, but that one Ahsoka episode is really another Clone Wars episode, which is really fantastic. It's really cool. I'm excited to see what happens. We know what happens with a couple of the characters, I guess. We know where Rex ends up. because we've seen Rebels already, which also so good. Obviously, in Rebels, we mentioned it last week, 2 weeks ago. Very important for Ahsoka to watch Ahsoka and really appreciate it. But I just want more Bad Batch. I'm sad that it's going to be the last season. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm going to watch it. We might do that week by week. Talk about like in episode 1 this happened, episode 2 that. So, but we'll see. We're gonna kind of we'll see how that goes. I'm excited. I just wanted more. That's. I think we're just gonna leave it at that for now. I wanted more. We'll get into some more intense Star Wars talk. Let's jump over to sports. Sports. Jay's off season. What's there to say? We're doing arbitration with our big players. We're missed out. We talked about the Ohtani thing 2 weeks ago. We're not. It doesn't look like we're signing anyone big, and that's fine. That's fine. Run it back. Let's see what happens. If we run it back and it's not going well, you lock up a couple guys, trade the rest, and see what happens. My opinion. The Raptors traded Siakam. Got 3 first-round picks. Probably could have gotten a lot more if we traded him in the summer, but that's fine. Again, just a Raptors middle of the pack, not that great season. All these sports, you have to be really pushing to win a championship, or you want to be getting really good draft picks. Because if you're in that middle group, it's really hard to really excel. What else happened? NBA, Tristan Thompson got suspended 25 games, tested positive for SARMs. We can always do the PED talk, right? The performance enhancing stuff. There's always a couple players in a couple leagues who have come back off seasons 30 pounds heavier. I don't need to name names. But bro, it's just my chicken and broccoli diet. Yeah, we know it is. We know what type of diet it is. Bro, you tried yoga and sauna? I've tried it. I haven't bulked up. I haven't put on 45 pounds of muscle in one winter. I've never done it. So it's you always want the sports to be real competition. If you know what I mean. I know it takes away from the integrity. I know that's what I'm saying, but. And I think that the argument of why not just let them all juice, I think that's disingenuous, because I think you actually want to see what you're capable of, not you plus these other things. And I know then you say, well, where do you draw the counter? Again, I do this counter argument in my head then where do you draw the line of like, well, we have sports science that shows, good nutrition and good rest and all that. Like, well, yeah, eat proper good food. Well, what is a protein shake too much? Is a creatine too much? Is, all this over the counter stuff too much? I know it's messy. We're going to say these are the illegal drugs. Take your protein shakes and your creatine. Eat your chicken and broccoli. So that happened. It's, NBA does suspend a couple players every year. Never any of the super duper stars. Then that's all I'm going to say about it. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because that is a fact. That is an undeniable fact. NHL, there was something really cool that happened, but it's being overshadowed by something horrible that has been happening today, actually. Super unfortunate. 5 players from the 2018 Canada World Juniors team have been asked to report to a police station in London, Ontario, in connection with sexual assault investigation that's been ongoing. Like I said, 2018. So it's been investigating for a while. Yeah, it's really overshadowing any hockey talk I want to do. Let's talk about Corey Perry signing with the Edmonton Oilers after being released by Chicago for unknown reasons. Well, it kind of doesn't feel too great to talk about that now, does it? As much as it'd be fun to talk about Corey Perry. It'd be really fun to talk about Patrick Waugh coming back to hockey and joining the New York Islanders as a head coach. That would be a ton of fun. But I think, hockey's better with the NHL's better. Hockey's better with Patrick Waugh in the NHL. That's for sure. We'll talk about. Here's the thing: Patrick Waugh is going to be giving post-game interviews again, so we're going to talk about him. Maybe I can. Oh my goodness! Maybe I can start doing clips. Maybe I can start doing clips on this. I can definitely be able to pull up clips and have that loaded up into OBS and stuff. Oh, that would be fantastic when he starts going off. Definitely intense. Very passionate about his hockey. Wants the best out of his players. There's no doubt about that. And sometimes and always, I should say always, he has no problem telling you about that. Okay, let's jump into a wrestling topic or two. Mickie James, WWE star, has joined OVW as creative director and head of female talent. OVW used to be WWE's developmental. They just had that Netflix show actually. Um, was run by Al Snow, so that's going to be kind of interesting. They'll probably get a season 2 if Mickey James is running it. So that'll be kind of interesting. What else? Sting's final match of all time, March 3rd against the Young Bucks. That'll be cool. We'll talk about that again. We got a month to get there. We have a full month. We're at the end of January now, right? But I'm expecting a bunch of like Sting's era guys to show up, whether they're on WWE Legends contracts or not. I think it's too big of a deal for him retiring for people not to show up, right? Let's see what was going to be the biggest news since we spoke again until something happened yesterday. Kazuchika Okada has announced that he's leaving New Japan. He's a Japanese wrestler. He's 36. He's in his prime. He's like the main event type of guy. He's world champ caliber type of guy, leaving his promotion at New Japan. This is the equivalent of Roman Reigns leaving WWE. This is massive. It seems like he's probably interested in coming to North America because right now there's 2 massive companies who offer big time contracts. AEW seems like the likely destination because they have a ton of money and a very possible flexible schedule, allowing more time for, apparently Okada has a family and a young child, a child or 2 children. I don't know, but he has a young family. Probably wants to be around if possible, or maybe move the family to North America. But I kind of feel like WWE's done pretty well with Shinsuke. Treated another Japanese star very well. Can present like Okada should be able to be presented as a big deal. Come in as a big deal and be established and maintain being a big deal. Like I said, he's still in his prime. He's 36. He's been wrestling a long time. A really hard style in Japan, but there's no reason why he won't also connect with a North American audience who doesn't know him right now, but will get to know him very quickly. So it's exciting. I almost hope he goes WWE. I don't know why, but I kind of do. Maybe give him, hook him up with Paul Heyman at first as a manager and stuff. Let the promos be in Japanese. I don't think from what I've read, I don't think his English is great, but pick it up. He's clearly a smart guy. What else happened in wrestling? I got a couple. Oh yeah, the wrestling note. Defy Wrestling. This is a silly one. Chris Daniels is going to have a match on February 8th against Curryman. That's tricky because Curryman was the masked wrestler that Chris Daniels used to be. So the best joke that I saw is that Okada is actually leaving New Japan because he's always wanted to be Curryman. So the match is actually going to be Okada as Curryman versus Chris Daniels. I don't know about that, but it's funny. I'm gonna follow up on this one just because I don't know how this is going to work. But Curryman, he's hot and he's spicy, so that's funny. And then obviously, the Okada thing would have been the biggest wrestling news, but I have to talk about this because Netflix. There's just this tiny little thing about Netflix signing a $5 billion deal for the next 10 years of Monday Night Raw, starting January 2025. Some details have come out. Netflix has the option to opt out after 5 years, and they also have the ability to renew after 10 for another 10. This is kind of massive because WWE's been on USA Network for 20 years. Netflix wants to get into that live stuff. And then there's also a report that all the premium live events, which I don't like calling them that, they're pay-per-views in my mind because I'm old. And also SmackDown's also included in this. So everything's available. So when I first read this, I actually read it as it's going to be starting on January 25th. I thought, wow, that's incredible. I can watch the Royal Rumble this weekend. But it turns out it's January 2025, not this January. So probably still can't watch the Royal Rumble. Although, Fujosamis, what do you think? Maybe we can watch it? It's Saturday night. That sounds like a good time. Maybe just the Rumble itself. We don't need to watch the rest. But that is going to be it. Okay, well, let's end off on some wrestling talk. Why not? That's going to be it for today. It's been good to come back. There's a little bit of a schedule. We're sticking every other Friday posting for now. That's going to be the plan. Well, ideally we go every day streaming again, but we're not there. We're not going to be there. That's fine. If you've made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe, follow, rate, comment, all that good stuff. Let me know how you're doing. Just let me know how you're doing, what you're gaming, what's going on. We need to work out a time for a live stream. That would be fun. I'd like to do that again. But until then, be safe, be good to each other, and we will talk to each other sometime very, very soon. Bye-bye.